Andrea, and in 2026, I'm making my own me-made capsule wardrobe. So today, I'm in the very beginning stages of pattern testing for some of the base patterns that I want to use to make this whole vision come to life. I'm going to continue working on my test fit of the Syd Tie top from Sydney Graham. I am going to cut and tape the lane pants pattern from her as well so that I can decide what size I want to make. And then I'm going to continue knitting my first sweater because that's also part of the vision for my capsule wardrobe. Let's get sewing. I always sit down to sew thinking it's going to move faster than it actually does. And then somewhere in the middle of pinning, I remember that it's just how long it takes. In my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll throw this together in a couple of hours and it'll be done. And then I'm sitting there rereading the directions and fixing mistakes that I made, and I forget to mark, and I spend 45 minutes pinning something when I thought it would take 10. And it's funny because it happens every single time. But today I noticed I was a little less, let's say, irritated by it. Usually the slow parts of sewing make me feel like I'm behind, or like I just think I should be further along at this point. But I've been knitting that sweater for almost a year now, and when something takes that long and you work on it for that long, you kind of stop expecting things to be done in a hurry. So I'm pinning and adjusting and resewing things, and it's still slow. It'll always be slow, but now I'm not like fighting it in a rush to get done, and that feeling is really new for me, and it's really nice. This is a pattern that I have been testing. So this is the Syd Tie top. And I always think that it's going to take me like a few hours to like blow through some of this. And then I have to go through and like pin for 45 minutes. So as much as I would have liked to finish this in my sewing session today, I had about 2.5 hours to sew this morning. So as much as I would have liked to finish this, I think I made a really good progress. I had to fix some errors that I made earlier. I forgot to put some notches into my pattern pieces to line things up. But I did get the ties on, and I got the front facing sewn on, so that's done. So the next thing that I'm going to need to do is the hem, and then I will move on to setting in the sleeves and finishing the sleeves. So I think in another like 2 to 3 hours or so I could finish this. This is the first time I'm sewing it, so it's also taking a little bit longer. So if this fits well when I'm done, and I don't have to like make any changes to the pattern, I think I'll probably like cut a few out, and then because I'll be able to like blow through it a little bit faster, kind of knowing what's happening, so I don't have to look at the directions every single time. So that should be fun. But this is turning out really good. Again, I'm excited to see if it fits. But I figured that at some point I'm going to want to move on to the next test. So I have the lane pants. I cut the edges off, and I'm going to start taping this together probably this afternoon. I'd hoped to be able to do it this morning, but sewing and pinning and ironing takes a little bit longer than I think forever and always. I don't know what size I need for this yet, so you can like on her patterns, you can go through and like hide sizes before you print it, because it goes from like 0 to 32 or whatever. She's got a big size range, which was fabulous. So I went through and like picked the 4 that I thought would be like closest if I wanted to grade between one or the other, you know, that kind of thing. So I have 4. So this afternoon, hopefully I will be able to tape this together, figure out what size I want, and then I'm thinking that I'll probably do a test, not as like as a full length pant, but like as a shorts, just so I can get the rise right and the this all fit right before I like spend fabric on, full pants. I have more sheets that I'm going to use for that. But yeah, I'm excited to get going on this. But I think that's all I've got in me for sewing today. But I am going to do a little bit of knitting tonight. You'll see that in a second. As I've said, I've been working on this sweater for almost a year now. I've restarted it 3 times, and past me would have been so frustrated by that. Actually, past me probably would have put the project down and never finished it after a month, let's be totally honest. I used to think not finishing things quickly meant that there was something wrong with me or that I was incapable of finishing projects, and I don't even like how that sounds now, but it's true. But as I've started knitting more, I've actually started to enjoy the process and the repetitiveness of knitting. Like, of course I want to wear the sweater, of course I want to knit more sweaters and have them done, but instead of saying, I'm going to finish this in a month, or I'm going to finish this in 3 months, it's more like, I'm knitting a sweater, and because I like knitting, it's going to take however long it takes. I'm letting myself off the hook for finishing things in a certain time frame or finishing them perfectly has changed a lot of the mindset of how I make. Now I'll pick it up during a Zoom call, or I'll knit a row during a 5-minute break in the middle of the day just to loosen my brain up a little bit. I'll knit a few rows while watching TV at night. Instead of focusing on the finished product, I'm getting something out of the process. And time again, I learned that making things takes way longer than I think it will. And eventually all these products and pieces I'm testing will rest in the same closet finished. But for now, they're just works in progress, and they're slowly becoming something that I'll wear and love later.